Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. While we're waiting for all of the attendees to arrive, so make yourself comfortable, bring a glass of water, and we'll start in a minute soon. And while we're still waiting for the people to join, let me bring up some of the housekeeping points. I'm sorry. First, this is meant to be the interactive session, so we kindly invite you and we encourage you to use the chat button and the question functionality here that you can find right there on your screen. Also, you can raise your hand in case you want us to unmute you and you want to place some comment on the webinar or express your point of view or ask a question personally. So you're very welcome to do that. So please don't feel shy. We love when our sessions are as interactive as possible. So let me just look at the time. I'll give another minute to join. And maybe 30 seconds more. Well, I think we're good to go now. So again, welcome to our webinar. Today, our topic is dedicated to modular content supply chain and especially on how to make your brand messages circulate in the omni-channel system. So today, there are two speakers on the webinar, myself presenting the VISEVEN office in the US, so based in Bridgewater, New Jersey, and our senior omni-channel marketing manager, Pavel Klimenko.
Hello, everyone.
And as we will be going through the agenda, first we'll focus on the pharma marketing trends, the use of digital channels in the omni-channel system, and the potential of every channel to reach the physician. We'll go then and discuss the best practices in modular content supply chain, and how to make sure that your messages are delivered in the best possible way. So let's start off with the trends and how they impact the current environment. So first, I'm sure that we all heard the notion of omnichannel. It is circulating far and wide today. But why we could not keep to the old good days and live the old way? So these are just some of the trends, in our opinion, that drive omnichannel adoption. So first, of course, these are the emergence of new technologies that empower the industries. So there are constantly emerging newer and better technologies that optimize the whole content supply chain. The way the content is crafted, how it is managed, and how it is distributed in the new ways. Then we feel that there is a stronger position on the value of the communication. So when before, like a couple of years ago, we experienced such facts that sometimes getting a nice and shiny leaflet or digital aid was pretty much enough to impress and to be remembered. So now it is unfortunately not the case, or even fortunately. We see this focus on the value communication increasing. So with that, also related that digital communication is ever more important, and the pandemics actually acted as a catalyst of that, so that the digital adoption is now pacing forward. And due to that, partially, Pharma has become much better in listening to the patients and physician needs and capturing the live feedback. So another point is the electronic health records that urge the automation of the various processes and bulk operations. Additionally, it is also the importance of the AI, as more and more communications are now generated by the augmented artificial intelligence algorithms, and they are very close to the current need of the customers. And a lot of the content is actually co-created using the AI. So how does it impact the digital landscape in 2020? So first, like over 4.5 billion people using internet actively, like every day. So this is more than half of the population. And in the medical domain, like this 79% of doctors prefer to receive the information online. And which is even more surprising is that 97% of the population are really, of the internet users, really trust the information that is coming from the AI. So this digital human, as we can name it. And that all means that there is less and less time in air that is left for the medical representative. So part of that is actually because the audience are digital natives, so they're digitalized. And if you're looking at some of the figures on this slide, so we have like more than 7 billion people living on Earth at the moment, and about more than 60% of those use internet every day. So they're using social media, they're using internet on the daily basis, and the bulk of that population are actually our target audience. These are the HCPS, because they are possible to have that technologies and to use them. So if we look closer to the use of particular devices, we see that mobile is actually cutting a lot of share from desktops and from tablets. So making possible that mobile is this sort of a window to get the information from the outer world. And correspondingly, the question comes on which channels are more and more getting more and more popularity within the HCPs. So on this slide, there is this recent breakdowns of the preferences, and some of them might be really surprising. So we see that like physicians are armed with mobile phones and have that access to the digital media like on a daily basis. But we see that email and clinical publications are sort of leaders. So this is no surprise, for example. But on the other hand, we see that mobile, online HCP communities are sort of chopping the share of e-detailing, and very close to that are the users of mobile apps. So that gives us the understanding of the playground that we will be sort of operating on. But does it really mean that we should take all of the channels that are in place and just rush into them and start like using them because they are available and physicians like them? So in order to answer that question, I would like to give the word to Pavel, who will focus exactly on which channels very efficient, how to maximize the use of them, and how to use them in the HCP engagement. So Pavel, off to you.
Yeah, Oksana, thank you. Yeah, we can directly go to the next slide. So when we're talking about the omni-channel at all and the all marketing communication and what the main principle is behind of this, and actually it's when we even not speaking about the channel, not speaking about everything in general, there's really 4R, that it's 5R, sorry, that is main things for us to consider when we're trying to build our communication in order to achieve our goals. So first of all, it's a right message. Right message is what we're actually telling to our audience, to our HCPs, physicians. And here is the main things that is corresponding to the right message is personalization. The more personal message we created to this particular HCP, the more we're appealing to his needs, his thoughts, his beliefs, and so on, the more successful we will be in our communication. The second one is the right people. Right people in marketing sense is all about the segmentation, which we should kind of look to our database, should segment it properly to the different segments. And I'm not talking only just the A, B, and C that is currently existing in pharma industry. We're talking about much more sophisticated segmentation that is also taking into account the different kind of the behavioral attributes of the users of the HCPs. So we should understand that we shouldn't just send our communication to all of the database and give it all to all. Yeah, it's not working like those days. So we should kind of consider to what exact segment, what exact message we should deliver at that time. Right time. Right time is all about automation because it's really hard to kind of manually send different kind of messages to these people, to this small group, or to this particular HCP. So in this kind of matter is the technology is helping us right now. For example, in different really advanced marketing automation tools, like for example, Salesforce Marketing Cloud, Adobe Campaign, and so on. There's, for example, such a thing in Journey Builder like send time optimization. So we put in this element, and this element help us to send the message to each particular HCP at the time that it's most converting to this particular user. It's calculated by the different kind of this machine learning algorithms. So it's really working. Right channel, the fourth our R, is we're working with different kind of probabilities and analysis of subscription of subscriber actions. So we are trying to analyze the previous activities and try to understand in what channel he's converted the most. So in pharma, there is a common approach to ask HCP from the very beginning what channel is preferable to you prefer. Yeah, but it's more kind of relevant would be to really look at his behavior and try to understand, did he open our email or not, or he is better responding to messengers or to some call centers activities and so on. And the last one, but not the least, it's trying to take into account the right context. So different kind of this external events that is happening around us. I think in this kind of matter, the COVID-19 is pretty bright example of these kind of things. So this 5 is the core things for us when we're talking about the omnichannel communication. And let's go further. Yeah, and when we're talking about the channels, and it's all really often we hear the question from the pharmaceutical companies: how many channels should I use? How many channels it will be enough for me? So the research and our experience is also proving this as well, telling us that it's the best way, the best outcome potentially. you will get if you will use 3 or more channel in your mix, in your omnichannel system, in channel structure. So it will give you the much higher engagement levels, the retention levels, the conversion level, finally, in your omnichannel strategy. So try to not just kind of squeeze to one existing channel. Try to expand your channel mix. It will give you the better chance to properly mix this channel and to deliver the message to the HCPs, to the users. Yeah, and a little bit more we're talking about the omnichannel strategy. And also, what is omnichannel given to us? It's the ability to connect in one system the whole channels that we have currently. It gives us the single point of orchestration. So we have one system, one tool, one entry point, entry source when we go into. And in this point, we can manage, orchestrate all of the channels, and it will give us the ability to deliver the seamless and aligned with our strategy content to our user. The mix itself can be pretty different from company to company. It can vary, but also, once again, I encourage you to try to expand your channels, not just with for example, EDETAILER and emails. Try to go a little beyond of this and try to add additional channels. About channels, we'll talk a little bit later in our presentation. So let's move forward. Yeah, and how to connect all these channels together, how to manage all this in proper way. So the best and the only possible answer here is to use it inside the customer journey, to create this customer journey that will combine these different elements, different channels, different messages in different channels, orchestrated, and will give you the single point of management of orchestration of all your communication, and also all data that you possess in the results of this communication will go to one place, and you also can use it in the further journey. It's also corresponding to the point that I mentioned before regarding the not just segmenting the user with the traditional loyalty and potential, but also take into account their behavioral attributes in order to better segment your database and better to create customer journey. So here you see the example of this particular customer journey. This example was built in Salesforce Marketing Cloud, one of the most powerful marketing automation tools that is currently exist in the market, but also kind of other marketing automation tools is also in some ways the same. So the main principle is the same. The functionality a little bit varies from system to system, but in general it looks something like that. So you see here the couple of channels, so it's messengers, emails, and SMS, and different kind of this orchestration element, different kinds of weights, and the branches of our journey. So building this journey and working with it, it's one of the main expertise in our company, one of my main point of specialty. So let's go a little bit further. Yeah, when we're talking about different kind of digital channels at all in general, yeah, the first that is coming to mind in pharma specialists is of course EDETAILER. It's really wide used in industry with as the kind of one of the main tool of medical representative that is using it in face-to-face and also in our time also in the remote visits. Yeah, so it's well-known channel, well-known assets, and in use here. So of course all of you should kind of use it, but in the mix of other digital channels. Certainly kind of there where it's we need some appropriate consent to kind of system of approval of this assets. It's all kind of well known, and also it's a big kind of big task to all omnichannel specialists to all pharma industry to try to build the journey that will combine their face-to-face activities, that will engage also their rep as their main communication point with other digital channels like emails, messengers, SMS, webinars, and so on. So the best way it will be to create the one sophisticated journey and try to kind of to manage that all in one campaign. And of course, gather the analytic, try to kind of approve the mail is the second one. It is used commonly inside the CRM tool like VEEVA, like IQVIA, and so on. Also used by reps, and also well-known kind of digital channel that I think you're all familiar with, and will not go into different details. It's pretty good, pretty good working. Speaking with a little bit about the detailing, it's also some additional feature here. It's always a room of for improvement, and so I would like to tell you a little bit more about this kind of things like self-detailing. Self-detailing is not when it's not a situation when the rep coming to their physicians to HCP with face-to-face visit or with a remote visit. It's the approach when we sending the link to the e-detailing through some digital channel, for example, to the email, and how it's working we will see on the next slide. Yeah, so of course, first of all, it's a creation of the asset itself, e-detailing, and we also kind of one of the companies that is working with this and helping our clients to create this e-detailing assets. So after that, it's of course content is uploaded to the VEEVA Vault. It gives the ability as in the short step to approve this asset, to push it through the MLR process. So after that, the content is published to the CRM. In this case, it's example with the VEEVA CRM. Yeah, and after that, we'll have this rep who is going to the visit to HCP, and or just kind of after the visit, for example, or the without even the visits to the HCP, he's sending the link to this e-detailing through the approved email. And also in this schema, it is possible to adjust it, and not only to the approved email, but to additional channels, for example, to broadcast email or to other one. It's also can be done. And after that, so the HCP is opening our message. This link, this button, going through this, he will go to our tool, in this case, to eWizard, and he will see the presentation itself, e-detailing, interact with it, and eWizard will gather all the metric, all the main KPIs regarding these interactions of the HCP with our e-detailing, with your e-detailing in this case. So all this kind of what he's how long that he stay on this particular slide, on this particular slide, that he push it, that he worked on this, and so on. So we gather in all this KPIs on these metrics, and it's also after that it's pushed to the VEEVA CRM, to the timeline of the this particular HCP, and this information can be used by the rep and by the all other specialists who is working with the communicating with HCP, analyzing their activities, field sales force activities, and sales force effectiveness, and so on. So this is the main schema of this self-detailing. Okay, speaking with about the other channels that we can and should at least consider to use in our omnichannel mix. The first one, it's also pretty well known, but not so commonly used in all pharmaceutical company. It's SMS. It has all its advantages and disadvantages. Of course, it's it's a little bit more expensive compared to, for example, emails. it's not so many content in when we talk about speaking about the volume of the content that we can put inside the one in the FMS, but it's easier to create. It can, of course, a little bit irritating when we are sending too much this SMS to our HCP, because there are kind of these notifications. It's not always coming proper time. So about when we are sending the email, of course, the HCP can open it when he is ready to dedicate some time to the email activities, but the SMS can be some irritating. So just make sure that you are not oversaturating the communications through the HCP. And also, one of the disadvantages maybe of this channel is that it's not so many metrics that can be gathered regarding the SMS. In main cases, it's only the send and delivery. In sometimes you can, for example, use some additional technology to track the track the clicks to your site, that is leads to your site, but it's also not so straightforward. And also it's a pretty high open rate has this channel. So our main approach to the channel, it's not the core channel, it's not the main, it's not the channel that you should start with, but it's really good additional channel that can be used in the omnichannel mix. So let's get to other web push notification. In my personal professional opinion, is one of the most underestimated channel in the pharmaceutical industry. I'm sure that you all, as the users, pretty good familiar with this channel. So you maybe saw it previously in different other web portals like e-commerce and other informational media portals and so on. So one of the main advantages of the channel, so it's pretty cheap. You're not paying too much for that, just to kind of do the integration and use some special service for this, but it's not so limited. It's in this case, it's pretty similar to the email, so it's not expensive. Also, it's sending by the specific user, so it's not binded and limited to your site, to your web portal only. So when someone is subscribing to the web push notification, it can be sent to this particular user, not only when he visiting your site and your web portal, but each time when he opens and work within his browser, Chrome, Firefox, and so on, Safari, and so on. It's also pretty good channel in our experience, and not everything is telling us about this, that it's a good channel for when you are trying to engage and trying to kind of return visitors to your web portal, because it's not a secret in pharma industry. There's a pretty big problem that a lot of pharma companies trying to build and use their web portals, but it's not so easy to, after registration, to encourage the user HCPs to going back to this portal, and in order to kind of sustain this, kind of to keep this engagement level. So in this case, web push notification is pretty good channel to engage, to return these users to a portal. So as the use cases around this channel is to put some fresh articles, for example, and notify about there's some really useful information, some videos that is uploaded to your web portal, and you just notify the user that you have this kind of a new video, and encourage them to watch it. Of course, we need to collect additional database. It's not coming automatically with the email address or with a phone number, so this kind of technically this token should be collected. And this also messages is pretty easy to create. It's not taking so much time and so much effort and money to create it, compare, for example, to emails So as a kind of resume, once again, this is a pretty good channel to use within with a combination of the portal and different kind of this online content, landing pages, videos, and so on. So you saw this kind of examples of how the subscription is going on and what is the web push notification look like. Okay, the second channel is mobile push notification. Sometimes people is mixing it. It's some kind of one channel, one assets, but it's not right. It's technically different channel, different messages, and also it's not the use cases of these channels. It's not the similar. So as I mentioned previously, the web notification, web push notification is binded to the browser in which the subscriber is receiving our web push messages, and the mobile push notification is lived within our mobile application. So after the user, after the HCP or patient, whatever is installed our application, after that we have this kind of ability to send him the mobile push notification. It's also pretty cheap, and also really good channel for more or less advanced experience users who is familiar with the kind of, at least with the smartphones, at least with the application, and it's really good way to encourage and to engage our HCPS, your database, to communicate and to interact with your mobile application. And as the kind of resume of this of the channel, so just use it wisely and not oversaturate the users with a lot of messages, because it's a pretty kind of common situation and use cases when you irritating the users too much, and they just go to this to the phone smartphone setup and just switch off the notification of your particular mobile application. I'm sure that all of you did such thing with a different kind of applications that is sending too much this mobile push notification. And our experience is telling us that after the user disable this mobile push notification for this particular mobile app, for our mobile app, for example, yeah, it's pretty hard after that to kind of make them make it enable again. So it's in some way it's like a Rubicon, like something like crossing the line. When we cross this line, because it's pretty much the end of our communication, and it really will take a lot of efforts from our side to encourage him with the other channel, for example, to enable this mobile push notification. Yeah, so go a little bit further. So the next channel is webinar. I'm also sure that you're pretty familiar with this channel, and just to summarize, to highlight some points regarding this channel, it's one of the best comprehensive communication tools. So we really can deliver a lot of information through the webinars. We have the ability to explain really complicated topics, really some special medical information, and it's pretty good on this kind of regard, because these short messages, it's really hard to communicate the hard topics and this heavy information through these tiny channels like SMS and mobile push and web push notifications. And also it's a pretty good way to collect feedbacks directly from the users, to hear their thoughts, to see their questions, and so on. And it's really can be cost effective, but it really depends on content and the frequency, how often you will conduct the webinars. And if it's one kind of simple advice that we can give to any pharmaceutical company, what is the best formula, for example, in order to have this really high converting and really effective webinar. So the short kind of formulas that can be the valuable advance some kind of topic, some valuable information, plus really key opinion leader, some distinguished speaker that it's will be there, have some kind of some authority, some power of information on our HCPS database. And also it's a good way to create this complex journey with a different channel mix in order to maximize the registration rate and the attendance rate to our webinars. So it's not just the one email that we send in and inviting, it's really should be the journey. And our experience is telling us that we can double and even sometimes triple the conversion when we use not just a couple of emails, but really good and advanced journey when we're talking about the webinar. So our main, as a resume, once again, our main approach is to use it as often as possible when you have really valuable information to share. Okay, let's go once again. Messengers. Also, I am sure that pretty well-known channels to you as kind of users, but it's really not so commonly used in the pharmaceutical industry. And even if it's using just in some kind of one-to-one personal approach between the medical representative and the HCPs. But the main point here is that we cannot, there is no way to kind of orchestrate it, to manage it, to collect information when we're not using the single corporate account in messengers, but we just separate communication of different medical representative directly using their personal accounts in messengers directly with the HCP. So we cannot, it's pretty common situation, but you all should understand that we cannot manage it. It can be measured, it can be used, it can be really put inside the omnichannel journey when we're talking about this, about separate activities and communication of the HCPs through the personal accounts. So it's pretty cheap in most cases. In some cases there is some not so easy, especially when we're talking about WhatsApp, but in all other messages it's cheaper than the SMS. And also in most cases when we're trying to compare this channel, for example, to the SMS, here it's more advanced content capacity, so we can include in most cases up to 1000 characters inside the message, button, pictures, and so on. So it gives us a more advanced asset to use in messengers. And of course, one of the biggest advantage of the messengers, it's a really high level of interactions that can be achieved through this channel. You really can get the feedback from the HCP. You can also use chatbot technology, for example, in order to collect some feedback, in order to make this communication more powerful, more advanced. And the really good approach here is to mix this human communication, and the chatbot, some automated activities. And there's also, we should kind of some restriction in some messengers, especially in WhatsApp and Facebook, what exactly, what kind of messages we can really send to the users. So, and our main approach is most way try to use it in not just one way, but this kind of bidirectional, two-way communication channel. Try to use this channel to get feedback, to really to speak to your audience, not just pushing the messages and trying to send and pray. Try to speak, try to get the feedback. Okay, and the last channel that we would like to mention in our presentation is the pop-up forms that also can be used within your portals. And the main kind of point here that we would like to emphasize is that maybe some of you is when we are talking about the pop-ups, thinking that it's not so good, it's irritating, it's always just appearing on the screen. But nowadays there's a lot of mechanism, a lot of tools that give us the ability to make it this different kind of setups that will adjust these conditions where this pop-ups is appearing to the screen. Yeah, and we really can set up the proper way, so it's not just appearing from the very beginning when you enter in the site. It's appearing in some condition and some pages after some time when the user is made some actions, and we can really collect a lot of information through these pop-ups, different kind of surveys, different kind of getting the feedback, collect some additional information about their use about HCP, for example, some additional personal information. Of course, include all this kind of legal part that he should put checkbox that he's given us the permission to use this information. But when we're speaking about their web portals and different kind of landing pages, it's also a pretty good channel to use it in the combination with the web portals. So we really encourage you to use it. And also there is some kind of you need some expertise in order to use it properly, but it's really not so hard and not so expensive to implement it actually, after all, when you already have the web portal. So also try to use it both ways. Try to collect some information from your HCP, try to get some feedback. You really can improve your web portals getting the feedback using their pop-up forms, and there is a pretty big potential after this channel implementation. So let's get further. Okay, so we speak about a lot of different kind of channels, different kind of approach to the omnichannel at all. And of course, we should understand that it's all this kind of different channel, all these different kind of journeys really requires a lot of proper content. So it's not just the one content that you create for all. You should really kind of adjust it. You should really recreate it. You should really consider to the different kind of use cases that users have with within the different channels. So the one message should be for one kind of asset should be for SMS. The different ones should be for messages, and the email it's completely different thing. So you can deliver actually the same information, but the assets, the approach to this information, the design can really should take into account the specific of the channel, and also kind of try to sustain this your unique brand style through all the channel to make it recognizable and to make it more appealing to your brand style, to your unique corporate identity. Okay, so next I once again would like to give the word to Oksana, and she will tell you a little bit more about the model approach and how it can help you in your supply chain when we're talking about the content.
Yes, absolutely, Pavel. Thank you so much. And you really presented a whole bunch of various channels that are available for use, but that would also mean that working in silo for content creation is not possible, unfortunately, if you want to go as broad as that. Yes, each channel in the end will have to have its own form, its own visual, and there should be ways where you can efficiently manage, create, co-create, localize, adjust, and also store all of this library of content that you have within your organization, and the more that you create. So we actually expect the volumes of content to rise like at least 3 times in the next year due to the emergence and the adoption of the digital channels and the acceleration that the current situation brings. So how to tackle that challenge? And we see a big game changer in this way would be the modular content. So first, I will try to give the definition of what we think a module is, and it is actually a combination of claim, references, and supporting media that are approved to be used together. They might not necessarily have any kind of a form or visual. The main thing in the module is that would have a meaning. So a module can essentially be as small as a sort of an email fragment, or it can be as big as the complete slide of your IBA. So they can be absolutely different. But as in our experience, we have managed to identify a sort of a main characteristics of the module. And first, as I said, it is that modules are meaningful. So that means that it can be used as is in a channel and will still deliver the message. Of course, it should be referenced because you need to support that message with the references. Important thing is that it is channel agnostic. What I mean here is that it's not initially created for like to leave in an email or in the website or in a messenger. It is delivered and created essentially in a way to deliver the message, but through which channels comes only as a second part, where when you have completed your toolkit of the omni-channel campaign, and you know which in which channel that message would leave for this segment. Then it is connected, meaning that all of the things, all of the assets, media, claims that you use are connected within that message, and you can track the reuse of every asset within the module, and also the reuse of the module itself as a whole. And then also the module is approved. So you should be able to approve that as a standalone entity, and that would be your building block for the future crafting of the content. That would be sort of a brick or a Lego block that we would then reuse to build something more of that. The whole concept of modularity is actually not new. It's not something that we have invented. But we would like today to touch the idea of like go approach that from a practical point of view. What I mean is that there are like what platforms will support you to create content in an efficient way, to make it secure and to make it fit your corporate ecosystems. And one of the core questions that you should ask while selecting a platform or a vendor of choice for your modular content journey would be if that platform is essentially designed for the pharma and life sciences. Would that support the strict regulations, security standards, compliance of the whole content that you would create? Also, how flexible it is to work with that, and easy it is to work with that platform, because working with modules, adjusting them should not be something really painful for the internal teams. It should be that just the enabler or the accelerator of the process. And then what data you would get from the background, like the reuse of the messages, the most popular channels that the message is used in, the reaction to the message. That's all you should consider while creating your, while selecting the platform you would use for modular content management. And to give you the idea about how we tackle that challenge is that we first, in our platform that is specially designed to work with modular content, there is this space here in the middle, like a round one, for the content authoring. This is actually where this whole creation process takes place for commercial and for modular and for medical content. It's where the modules are sort of born and where the final assemblies based on that modules are created. There is the connection to the digital asset management platform with the review and approval systems, so that we ensure the compliance and so that we reuse the approved content and approved media in our content. And then when you're looking at the right part of the screen, it actually goes with how you disseminate the content to external system, so that everything that you build, the whole channel sort of view and format actually happens on this way where you export that to the system and platform that you select. So basically here on the content authoring part, when you create modules, you assemble emails or sites, you don't actually see if that should be the approved email or if that would be a Salesforce Marketing Cloud email or the Oracle Eloqua email. No, you select the format because it's just it's the secondary. Like the system comes only after. Today you have one, and tomorrow you might have another one. So that's not something that you should focus. And that's what actually the idea of our create once and publish everywhere approach is, that one and the same module. What I mean is by module is basically the message or the claim can be a part of any type of the channel, and there is no need to develop each channel type separately. So basically in silos, the content modification or the message adaptation lies in the module, but then you just inject that module in the channel that you want to use your message in, and that's where it lives. So from the process point of view, it goes like that. So we have a sort of a library in order for designing our content that consists of components, assets, templates, and wireframes that are then combined together and populated with the proper approved messages and proper approved media from the digital asset management system, and where you basically mix and match the different modules within one of the channel templates that you select. And then comes the process of actually the publishing, which deals with mainly providing the your message a sort of wrap up and formatting, so that you know that you would get the perfect behavior and functionality and the performance of your asset within the channel that you select. And then you can, in the analytics part, identify like how that actually message resonates. So you don't actually identify what the impact of the whole email is, but you go much more granular in the way how you measure the efficiency of your interactions. You can now, with the module, identify how that actually resonates with your customer. And in order to start working the modular way, we have identified and practiced multiple times a number of steps. And anyway, the start is in the strategy, where we define or the customer team defines the customer engagement journey, the brand plan, the messages that they want to deliver, and then that is all of that claims and messages that you want to share are sort of wrapped in the frame of modules. The modules then come like they can exist separately, but in order for them to be delivered, they should be a part of the template. So we templatize the experience, we build the master templates where the modules are actually injected. And the good thing here is that if some claim has been changed or some message should be adjusted, it's not that you redo the whole bunch of emails and sites that you have, but you add, you make the change in the module only, and then that change is then applied to a number of channels that that module is used in. And to support the proper tracking, we implement the sort of unified classification system so that the modules can be easily discovered and identified and then eventually tracked, so that when we go live, we actually can track the impact of all of our messages. And in order to actually make those modules searchable and findable, we suggest the following sort of hierarchical way of working with meta tags. So first, like main sort of part of the tagging goes in the template level, because template is essentially related to a certain brand, to a certain therapy area, and the channel. So this is like the bulk. Then we chop we chop this part off, and we go deeper in the each module metadata. That goes with claim and with status, country, life cycle, and the similar, like much more granular way. But also each of the parts within your module might have their own metadata, like what's the text inside, what's the usage, or like the selected usage of this, for example, media on an embed, should it go in this channel or in that channel? So with this whole combination of those sort of three pillars, we can come up with a very insightful way of how the modules and the content can essentially be tagged in order to be further tracked. We have been working on that system for over 6 years now, and we today would not be doing like any demos on the purpose, because we think that we strongly encourage you to sign up for a personalized demo where we would focus on your content and on your current needs, your channel mix, in order to make the best suggestions for you on how you can switch from conventional to a modular way of working with your content. So our webinar, as we have just 1 minute left before we are out of time for the webinar. So you still can type your questions in the chat. Unfortunately, we won't be able to take them live, but we will provide the answers for all of those questions in a follow-up email. So with this, I say all of you, thank you for your participation. Hope you found our information shared today insightful and actionable, and we'll be happy to hear from you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you. Take care.